So we've seen generally all of the major central banks respond to August Yuan devaluation and market turmoil with a lot of caution, and the effect of that has been generally range-bound trading on most of the major currency pairs. I think the Fed in particular has made it clear that the reason it actually didn't hike rates was not because it's developing serious doubts about the path of inflation, but really out of a sense of prudence and caution, because it wanted to see if there were further shocks coming to commodity prices. So looking ahead, I think probably one of the biggest events, certainly for the rest of this year, is going to be when the Federal Reserve does eventually get around to hiking interest rates, which does still look to be December. Now, in addition to waiting out the situation in Asia and seeing if there will be any other further shocks to commodity prices, I think the Fed is looking to see just how far domestic economic activity will slow down, because there has been a slowdown centered on manufacturing industry. But the question is, will that affect upwards price pressure? Will that affect the labour market? And so I think releases like next week's non-farm payrolls will be particularly important for judging that, and therefore the path of monetary policy and the dollar. In the meantime, the European Central Bank is also in a little bit of a wait-and-see mode. However, the action that they've sort of got their finger on the trigger on is further quantitative easing. So in our view, the ECB will probably extend or make it clear that its quantitative easing program will continue for longer than currently expected. And I think probably the most, again, similar to the Fed, the most important releases for that will be inflation and commodity prices in particular. So if we do see a downward shock begin to develop, for example, this week we had some fairly grim German producer price data. If we do see a downward shock develop to prices, the ECB has been very clear that it will engage in further easing action. So looking ahead, the important releases remain as they have been for the last couple of months, anything to do with inflation, anything to do with price pressure, and in particular the labour market in the United States.